Welcome to Lesson 12.2, which is the second presentation on Latin America. And for many of you, we'll be heading into more familiar territory, more contemporary territory, as we do Afro-Caribbean and Afro-Brazilian genres. First of all, when we talk about Afro-Caribbean styles, we're talking about salsa and beyond. Now, here's what I mean by that. First, let's talk about a concept called musical Creole. Have you heard of that term Creole before? If so, where do you normally hear it? I think for most of us, we hear it in terms of New Orleans. We think about a language that has French elements and English elements in it. So, according to things we've already talked about this semester in musical hybridity, musical mixing and mingling, we could talk about it being syncretized or syncretic. We can talk about it being hybridized, or we could talk about it being indigenized, taking outside elements and giving them a unique spin from a particular indigenous culture. Give you an example here. Cuban son, merging Spanish guitar and lyrical traditions with African percussion and layered rhythms. And the tradition holds, and this research holds, that this genre began in the eastern part of Cuba and gravitated toward the capital of Havana, and now is pretty much a pan-Caribbean phenomenon. Here's an example on YouTube. Yeah, in that slideshow there, as you listen to that music, you saw lots of the old school masters of the Cuban son. And these guys were maybe some of the pioneers and the styles that got incorporated into the New York City salsa scene. Another interesting genre is the Cuban mambo, because it was created in New York City by Cuban musicians. So, is it a Cuban genre? Yes. Is it an American genre? Yes. It's one of the musical foundations of what we know as contemporary salsa music. And here's a video.
Hi.
This band is led by Pancho Sanchez, the guy in the light blue, the hat, the shirt, the thick beard, playing the congas. And he is very well known as one of the contemporary senior statesmen of salsa music, based in New York City. Many, many recordings, many, many honors, Grammys, etc. And creates this very danceable music, the mambo. Another interesting genre is the Cuban rumba. It was originally a music dance form predominantly African in the way it was conceived, but with some European instruments, sung in Spanish, but with an African call and response presentation. So as you watch this video here, see if you can remember back to the unit on Africa and how this call and response structure is reminiscent of what happened in West Africa. So that is the uncommercialized rumba done in Havana, capital of Cuba, in the street, kind of a setting that is very authentic, whatever that means at this point in the semester, and very heavy in percussion, very heavy in the vocal column response, and the dancing you could see is so many connections to Africa. If you were blindfolded, you might not be able to tell. If you weren't picking up on the Spanish language, you might not be able to tell the difference between that and something that was happening in the streets of cities in Ghana. Now, before we leave this slide, I should mention that the term rumba has more recently become a kind of a catch-all term for faster Cuban dance music. So if it goes up to a certain tempo, it's mambo. If it goes faster than that, it's a rumba. That's kind of the modern usage of that term rumba. All right, let's talk about New York City, NYC, which I call the Caribbean Crucible, meaning that it's a place where, like in a lab, when you're doing experiments and heating up elements in a crucible to create some new compounds, new elements. Sorry, not new elements, chemistry people, but new combinations, new substances. So here's a new musical substances coming out of this crucible, this lab, if you will. First of all, think of the Hispanic immigrations throughout the 20th century. And New York City, we're talking about Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, Trinidad. I have a really good friend who emigrated to New York City from Trinidad. And if you think of the musical West Side Story, the Jets and the Sharks, the Jets was the street gang that was made up of European immigrants, Italians, Jewish kids, Polish kids, and the Sharks were made up of the Puerto Rican immigrants. The indigenous musicians from those different countries interacted with one another and created syncretized styles, like the son, the rumba, merengue from the Dominican Republic, the bomba from Puerto Rico, the plena from Puerto Rico, and other genres. They also interacted with Afro-American music, North American music, especially big band jazz. And a lot of times the characteristic sounds of salsa that we know and love today have a very strong element of the horn section, several trumpets, trombones, saxes, and it's really a scaled down jazz big band with a lot more percussion. Now this music eventually became known as salsa, which literally means sauce, of course, and it's a sauce of compatible, spicy musical elements. Here's an example.